It's been so cool to watch the Lord work. With the movie Fireproof, Alex came up with this idea of the love dare, and I had been studying unconditional love and marriage in the scriptures. With Courageous, he came up with this idea of these police officers dealing with the issue of fatherhood. And I'd been studying fatherhood in God's Word. And with War Room, I'd been leading our church prayer ministry, and he's talking about fighting your battles in prayer. And with this film, he began to unpack this idea of identity. And at the same time, I'd been studying Ephesians 1 and 2, and we can see how the Lord was paralleling our paths to be able to specifically make this movie.
Who is Hannah Scott?
Your identity will be tied to whatever you give your heart to. What have you allowed to define you?
Everyone needs to answer the questions of who is God and who am I?
We want to ask the audience those questions by showing them someone that they can relate to.
With War Room and with Fireproof, they were very mature themes of complex marriage relationships. And with Overcomer, this is a multi-generational story.
War Room was all about how prayer can transform a life. This film is still about the undercurrent of God's power working, but it's how individuals can help to encourage a life to be changed.
When everything in your life is stripped away, who are you?
You're going on a journey with Coach John Harrison. And as a basketball coach, he finds his identity in this position.
And when that is stripped from him, when the local factory closes down and you have about 6,000 people that leave the town, it devastates him.
He ends up having to coach cross country, which he doesn't want to do. He doesn't even think it's a real sport.
I'm not a cross-country coach. I hate running. Amy bought me a treadmill 3 years ago. Never use it.
I don't want to have to cancel another program.
And the only person who goes out for his team is this 15-year-old girl named Hannah.
She doesn't think she's loved. She feels so empty inside.
She doesn't know where her place is in the world. She doesn't know her parents.
She has a grandma. Grandma's always working. She doesn't feel like she's always there for her.
Hannah has had so many frustrations in life, so many hardships, that she's not seeing herself as God sees her.
Your life is worth so much more than this.
To who?
And so John, as his identity is stripped from him, the Lord kind of reorders his path to interact with Hannah.
I get it. You're a basketball coach without a team, and now you have to coach cross country. But it's not the end of the world, John.
I come alongside of him and really want to help to encourage him that that's not what he's all about.
And you see her prayer support and her speaking truth into his life and how much it means to him, and then through him to impact Hannah's life as well.
We do want to show a very healthy, encouraging picture of a family where the husband and wife, even though they face a lot of issues, fight for each other, love one another, work things out, pour into their children for the long haul, for what matters most.
The way that Thomas comes into the picture of all this is quite by accident. While John is at the hospital, doing visitations, he kind of stumbles into the room unexpectedly.
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to disturb you.
Who's there?
Thomas has so much greater perspective on his faith and in life, and he begins rubbing off on John.
If I asked you who you are, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
And we see how John, who reluctantly is trying to coach, is awakened to his identity. It's more in who God designed him to be.
And when we know Christ, we become an overcomer in him, because the one who overcame death, hell, and the grave is living inside of us.
So Overcomer is a discovery of who gets to determine our identity and what we have to overcome to embrace the life God has for us.
But when you find your identity in the one who created you, it'll change your whole perspective.
There is more to salvation than just getting a ticket to eternity. It actually transforms your identity while you're right here on planet Earth.
I want people to walk out of the movie theater thinking there is a God who created me and loves me and has a purpose for me and wants to know me.
And if you can realize you're a different person, brand new, you have a Father who loves you and has given you this incredible inheritance, then the way you live, the decisions you make, the relationships you have, everything is filtered through this brand new identity. It will transform the way you live.
Ask me who I am.
Who is Hannah Scott?
That's Hannah.
Run,